Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. I have to change up what I'm doing here. I had the painful realization, I think, earlier today or yesterday. Today's Thursday, May 23rd. Third, I think it was last night. This video won't be up till Friday. And so this is this channel here. This is the analytics program. And I'm just not getting very many views. The most views I got this month are 3,525. So the view count has gone down significantly on this channel. It's probably close to 1,000 views less per video here than it is on my main channel. And so that's problematic because the videos I make here are shorter and they're just not making any money at all practically. Like the most money that I made was $31. Here's some, these are days I don't put videos up. It's $2 or whatever. $22. These are days I did put videos up. And so it's an average of like $13 a day. And the reality of it is in terms of the days I make videos, I'm making like $5 an hour. And so it's just not worth my time and energy. And I'll talk a little bit more about this. I got some stuff to show you. I got a regular video to put up here. But it's almost counterproductive. It's better like I make less content and make more money and get more views than keep on putting out more content that undermines my other content. This is a video from my main channel. You can see here, this is the Premiere Pro, app here. And so for me to make any of these videos, it takes, let's say it's a half hour long video. There's usually over an hour on my other channel, and sometimes it's more than an hour. It's an hour on this channel. But usually it's around a half hour, sometimes 20 minutes. But to make a half hour video, I get people send me links every day. And so I got to open those up and watch those and think if I'm going to use articles and things. I have to read the articles. So there's some preparatory, some preparation to each video, right? And the preparation's probably like an hour or more for a half hour video. It's usually probably twice as long as the video. And then I use the screen grab, screen flow app. And, I make these things right here, these little blue things. And these are all screen flow. And, I have to edit some things out. And, it's when I shoot the video, it's probably it's almost twice the amount of time. If I shoot a half hour video, I probably spend an hour doing that. And then another hour or so doing the editing of the video. You see all these things and the voiceovers. So it probably takes around 3 to 4 hours to make a half hour video. I mean, it's the same with a longer video. It's it's not that much longer with a regular video. But there's all the time I think about what I'm going to say and all the things that I have to prepare for it. And, like I say, editing and, it can take, any amount of time. But then there's the answering of comments and the other things I do to keep the channel going. And so, I'm making like $3 an hour, when it comes down to, the videos I'm making here. And it's not financially viable, right? It's not something that I can, continue or sustain. It's not sustainable. So just to understand the whole, what I was doing before, I've changed up my format over the years to try to adapt to YouTube's ever-changing community guidelines and their logarithms and machine learning and all the BS that they do. But they're simply not running ads on this channel and my other channel as much as they used to. And so, the minimum that I always set for my, the minimum that I was willing to make is $100 a day. And that's still like, it's only, $3,000 a month or whatever it is, right? It's just not, and I have expenses, right? There's, I have expensive computer, microphones, all these other things that I do. So I got expenses that are part of that, right? So it's the bare minimum, and I'm well under that. I'm making about $50 a day on my other channel when I make videos, but less when I don't. And this channel is just, not doing anything. They seem to like this channel less than my other channel and run ads less on it. And they used to love this channel more. They used to get, they used to green my videos here almost all the time in the beginning. And so now, it's hard to understand how It's all bots and AI and stuff now, and so they put channels in a certain category, and it's not just truther channels. It's they're depressing a lot of channels, and they're reducing the amount of money that they're paying, and so they're making it almost impossible to make a living here, because they also aren't allowing the videos to be seen by new people. And so, some of the reasons that I make videos on this channel, the number one was I couldn't talk about the bloop and the effects of the bloop. So I did this sort of, backwards way of, like a subtle way of calling it Hollywood Celebrities Dropping Like Flies, and just implying that these were, bloop related consequences. And that was the purpose of this channel. Some people didn't understand that at all, which was weird. Like I thought everyone kind of understood it. But that's why I was doing the Hollywood Celebrities Dropping Like Flies, because I was covering something that, you couldn't just come out and just say it, because YouTube would give you a community guidelines strike. And so the channel was doing well for whatever. Last year, they started to change the way that they pay ads, but they're not, recommending. They don't notify people who have subscriptions. Just all the shadow banning stuff, which we know they're doing on both channels. And like I said in my other channel, I'm going to give it to the end of the year, and then I'm going to have to go to like a full membership where, all my content's going to have to be, paid content, and I'll go to a different platform, because YouTube is, the whole reason I'm here is so that you can reach more people on YouTube, and that's not the case anymore. My videos aren't making it to new people, and there's no way. I've tried different things, ads and things. Some of you guys know about who watch my other channel. But I've tried all these things to rectify the situation. It's just not working. And so, I'm going to have to go to some other way of doing it, and we'll see how that all plays out and whether I can make enough money doing that way. There is a membership program on my other channel. People can leave donations and things. I'm getting some donations. But either way, it's just not enough money to justify the use of my time. And, these videos here aren't essential. They're, oftentimes they're, things about weird stuff and the bonus hole stuff, and, like stuff about people dropping like flies. And, it's not like I have to do this work. It's entertaining for people and things, but, it was more so to bring people in, and this was supposed to be kind of a lighter channel. And I'll probably make videos maybe twice a week, maybe make longer videos, and see if it makes more money doing it that way. And also, spending less time doing it, especially now during the summer when there's other things to do. The writing's been on the wall for a while, and I've known that this is the case. YouTube is just paying less money per ad, and they're running less ads. This is an election year, so it's going to be even worse next year, because there's going to be less ads next year after the election year. So this was my best year. I've talked about this on my other channel. 2020 was my best year financially. And also, I think I was getting more views during that, whatever it was. But, it's just not the case. And, it's just a dying platform, and that doesn't want us on it, So it's, there's no future here. And I'll have to, like I said, I'll figure things out, and I'll make some changes at the end of the year. But I have to either bring in significantly more viewers. I have to, triple my audience. At least, I would say triple my audience, maybe. Maybe it needs to be about 5 times the views I'm getting now. And I just don't see that happening, because there's no way to access people who are interested in this kind of content. And so, it's okay. It is whatever it is. But let's get into the other stuff here. Okay, I just want to add a little bit to what I was saying before we get into the other stuff. I'm not sure how much I said, because I said it yesterday. Today's Friday, May 24th. I don't know if this video is going to go up today or Sunday. I'm going to keep the regular schedule for my main channel. But I'll probably just make a couple videos a week here. And I'm not going to put pressure on myself to make sure it gets out on a certain day, whatever. Whenever it's done, it's done. Whenever I get the time to make videos for this channel. And like I said, I'll revisit this after the whole election year and the rest of it. But if they're just not running ads on this channel, then I might as well, do things on my other channels. I can get my backup channel monetized or whatever. That might get better, more ads and better ads and things. In fact, I should move to do that. I could move these videos over to there. Just start posting those videos there, get the subscriber base up. And that would be like a whole brand new channel if they choose to monetize it, so they didn't they already passed on monetization. So, I just have to devote some time into seeing out what's next. Because, I can't go on like this financially. And, I'm kind of over YouTube YouTube's done a lot for me in various ways, but, it's not it's an abusive relationship. Anyways, let's get into the other stuff here, and I'll talk more about this maybe next time. Okay, so let's get into the bonus hole celebrity dropping like flies stuff. Super Size Me director Morgan Spurlock dead at 53 after cancer battle. So this is a guy who made the documentary Super Size Me. Every time he ate only at McDonald's for a month. And every time they said, do you want to supersize that? He said yes. And he ate everything that they gave him. And he was, dying by the end. He was a young guy. He was in his 20s when he made this documentary. And I don't know what he did since then. So that. But now he's dead with cancer. I don't know if he took the loop or what, and all these things, right? He admitted to drinking heavily. He sexually harassed some women. So he went on some hard times, and all of it. So I got a bunch of bonus hole stuff here. This woman's on a beach. I believe this is in Mexico. And there's a bull walking around and wants to eat her stuff. And she doesn't want it. So she goes up and is trying to get the thing. She's really close to the bull's head. And you never want to bend over. You don't want to bend down. There's a video I'm not showing you because it's kind of brutal. But there's a kid at a petting zoo. He's like a toddler. And he's feeding a deer. And he drops some of the food and he bends over to pick it up. And, if you put your head down towards any of these herd animals, they take it like you're attacking them. There's certain postures that you have that they see because they don't have the best eyesight. And they think you want to butt heads with them, right? Any of these animals that do that. And so when the kid put his head down, the deer stomped on the back of his head with his foot. And it was pretty bad. It was bad. I mean, it's so bad I'm not showing it, right? But this woman's getting in here and her head's down.
Please don't do that. Please. Please get away.
Some guy's yelling, please don't do that. Please get away.
Jesus. Lady, please get away. You're not doing us any favors. Get him. Get him. We tried to tell you.
She gets knocked out there. She goes limp here.
Vele a ayudar, córrele.
Hey, por atrás.
Por atrás.
Hey, por atrás, gordo. Por atrás, güey. Hey, cuidado, cuidado,
She's going to go back and get her stuff. You're leaving the bull to get your stuff, and the bull's just like going over there and saying, I'm standing over it now. So this Caitlyn Clark thing is hilarious. So they were kind of, I think, defending her here for her lack of pay. I don't know, but then they go after her here.
Well, let's talk about Caitlyn Clark, because she's the breakout star of the WNBA right now with the highest salary in league history. Yeah.
Woo!
And a $28 million endorsement deal from Nike. And in a new article in the LA Times about her success, sports journalist Jamel Hill.
That is a hard one, though.
It's a hard
Every time
one.
I say her name, it's a hard.
My lips just failed.
It's hard. I don't know how many times did you said Jabel Hill?
I felt them start and then, It was like real. So let me try it again. Jamel Hill compares Clark to Steph Curry for being relatable to fans, but claims the fact that she's a straight white woman plays a big role in the hype around her.
Uh-oh. It's good that you're covering that part about it.
It's not the numbers that she puts on the scoreboard. So I want to point something out. She is the NCAA's all-time leading scorer of men and women. In February, she broke the women's record. In March, she broke Pistol Pete Maravich's 3,667-point record.
Okay, so I just want to add this here. I'm editing. Just, they do this a lot. And I heard this over and over again where they were saying that she has broken the men's record. There's no breaking the men's record because it's two different leagues, right? Like you don't go play in Europe or play, pee-wee basketball and say, oh, I scored more points than, LeBron James or I broke the record for the NBA record, right? Because it's not the same league, right? Women's college basketball and men's college basketball is completely different. Any man who played in Division I basketball, if he went over and played in NCAA and women's basketball, would break the scoring record, right? Like any prolific scorer. If Pete Maravich or any of these modern day players played in the women's league, they would score 50 points a game. Like this is. Some NBA players were talking about that. Some guy from the NBA claimed that he was trans and transitioned over to the WNBA. That guy would average 50 points a game. You can see the level of play. It's not the same thing. She didn't break Pete Maravich's record because she didn't play in Pete Maravich's league. It isn't like the two leagues are the same. They're not. There's women's college basketball, and they have their own tournaments and things. They have different rules. The way they keep time in those games is different. In men's, it's 2 20-minute halves. In women's, it's 4 10-minute quarters. It's different. The ball they use is different. The 3-point line is different. I mean, it's all different. It's closer. And then you look at the difference in the play, it's not the same. And so they're saying like goofy stuff, right? Like when women are trying to claim some sort of success, it's always like Serena Williams is the greatest tennis player ever. And John McEnroe says, no, she would lose to like, the 50th greatest, the top 50 men or any professional men. Like she's not able to beat a man in professional in men's tennis. And everyone went berserk, right? Because they don't, these women, these feminists, because they want to game the system to come out with ways that they're better than men, right? Like that's what this is about. She broke the women's record, but she didn't break the men's record because she didn't play in the men's league.
He's had more 30-point games than anyone in the past 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Woo!
Okay? She holds a single season 3-point record for women. She's the Big Ten's all-time leader in assists. Now, listen, when people say stuff like that, that's like people saying, oh, you only got into this Ivy League college because you're black, or you only got this because of this. This girl earned this. I'm sorry. There are...
She's sorry. She's sorry that she earned it.
Great players.
Sonny doesn't believe it, though.
But nobody else has done this. So I'm not mad that they gave her basketball, but I will suggest to Wilson that one of the things they might want to do, Wilson is the people who make the basketball.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, we could suggest that in, what is the word? To honor the women who play in the WNBA. Maybe they should do a series of balls.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the ones that'll never sell. They're businesses, right? This is a problem here. It's a business, right? It isn't a participation trophy. Like Wilson is printing Caitlyn Clark's name on these balls. The WNBA sucks. Like every time I see clips of it, it's just not as good as like high school men's basketball. Because women don't have the ability for the explosive drives. I mean, some of the shots they make are just so remedial. They can dribble and shoot. But in terms of the drives, and it's the leaping ability and it's the speed and it's some of the other athleticism that they just don't possess, right? And so it's just never going to be a basketball, like, in terms of watching good basketball. But like I said before, they can cut out a fan base, right? And for whatever reason, Caitlyn Clark appeals to lots of people, and they've had their biggest rated games in a team that's won no games, right? Like they're not winning games. The team sucks, and it's and she's getting a lot of hard time and pushback. LeBron James came out and talked about how much he was hated by his teammates when he came into the NBA, because they're all competitive and jealous, right? But women take it to to another level, where they just, they have the inability to see the bigger picture here.
And please, do not make them pink, okay? They don't need to be pink. Just make
Her eye glitched out there for a second. I wonder it's the weight loss shots.
them regular basketballs, because there are some extraordinary players, and she is part of the reason that people are now paying attention. I'm telling you, I'm having the hardest time today.
You sound like me on a Monday.
She's the only reason.
Yeah. That people are paying attention to the WNBA. Okay.
Let me take this baton from you.
Please.
I got
can't
you.
do this anymore.
No, I think what Jamel Hill was saying is important. We need to identify communities that have not gotten the spotlight. Paige Buckers from UConn gave an amazing SB speech about 2 years ago, giving her award essentially to the black women that preceded her, saying although they won 80% of the awards that year, they got less than half of the media coverage. All of those things can be true. I think uniquely with Caitlyn Clark, she cannot be reduced to much beyond her statistics because a number is not biased. It just is what it is. But
Numbers aren't biased.
I think that she's also been good about addressing those who came before her. She knows that, like Maya Moore.
Yeah, let's get to here. This is Sunny.
And Caitlyn Clark has also been such a big deal.
Look, I've been a basketball fan since I can remember. I played basketball with my dad in Harlem when I was 5 years old. So I remember loving the game, and the game not necessarily loving women back, right?
At all.
Okay, that's not true. It's not good to watch, right? Like, you can't blame the basketball, the game, for the institutions for the fact that you lack the athletic ability to make it as appealing to watch visually, right? Like, you can't say football doesn't love you back. I mean, like it's just not as good. It's not as a high level. You're playing on a much lower level as women, right? That's when, trans men that go into sports dominate, and they don't even have to be the best athletes. They're not they're not the best men, but they dominate women's sports because, men are just more athletic. It's not, it's nature, right? You can still play, you can still play sport. Everyone can play sports. It should be more fun than it is, right? But to make a living at it and to be, where people want to watch you play, it has to be a certain level, like anything else. You can't expect people to watch something that sucks, right?
At all. And the WNBA started in 1996. First games played in 1997. It's 2024, and we're just really now talking about it. And so if Caitlyn Clark is the vehicle that will bring this sport that I have loved so much and so long to little 5-year-old girls playing in Harlem, I say yes, bravo. I have no problem with that.
But
With that being said, I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. There is a thing called white privilege. There is a thing called tall privilege. And we have to acknowledge that.
wait, is there a thing called tall privilege? This is also banging your heads on ceilings and not being able to fit in cars. It'd be awful to be. There's a certain level, I'm uncomfortable. I'm like 6'2", and I'm often uncomfortable on planes and things like this. You get up to 6'4" and above, and people who are 7 feet, and they can't fit anywhere. Nothing's made for you, right? You can't find clothing. I mean, any of these things. And so, it's just silly. Yeah, you have an advantage playing basketball, but that's about it. If you don't play basketball, then what? You can reach light bulbs and stuff. There's not many advantages to people who are really tall, or anything. When you're, left-handed people, whatever. Is there left-handed privilege? And so it's just silly. Like, this is the one time the WNBA is getting some attention, and they're, complain about it. Like this is, it's being covered by these. There's a lot of these NBA players and ex-NBA players that have podcasts, and they're covering it how the WNBA, they call it the W, has never been gotten much attention. And they finally do, and they're getting stupid about it, right? Not just the reporters, but players, and there's jealousy and all these things. And, they're not making any money because nobody watches it. But if they carve themselves out some sort of a fan base, because there's, this white girl from Iowa that has all these people that are, interested in her, then, like they should go with it, right? Even though she has an Adam's apple. Let's just let Sonny finish up here.
And so the part of it is about race, because if you think about the Brittany Griners of the world, why
Brittany Griner.
did she have to go to play in Russia?
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay, not because she was
league.
black, but because they didn't believe in the WNBA.
This is part.
Because they don't have any fans. Their seats are empty. Nobody watches their games. Like Caitlyn Clark is the biggest televised games now just because of the fan base she brought in. So one college player, because there's nothing going on in Iowa, and so she's probably the most famous person in Iowa, and, the fan base that she's brought in has created, more viewers than all the other WNBA players and, organizations in the past, because it sucks, right? It's not as good. Stop whining about it. Like, you make a better product. Like, it still isn't good, Like, the level of play hasn't gotten better. It's just there's more interest now around women's college basketball. And that's fine. Like, I don't care. People view whatever they view. I mean, people have entitled to watch whatever they watch. There's lots of content out there. But it's competitive. You don't get paid for, having empty arenas. The organizations themselves, these teams are affiliated with NBA teams, and the NBA teams were, having to operate as their WNBA teams were operating at a loss, right? They were losing money, and so they, it sucks, right? It sucks. The league sucks, And there was a WNBA player that asked the NBA players to give them money out of their salaries to compensate them for their lack of fans, right? Like one of the famous WNBA players, and Draymond Green said, we're always talking about you guys and supporting you and telling people to go out and watch your games. What else do we have? We have to give you our money too, right? Like, it's just silly. So I just want to say one more thing about this. There's now categories, if you go to like Netflix or Hulu or any of these apps, there's categories for LGBTQ content, black content, whatever, feminist content. I mean, there's all these different categories now for specific demographics, right? Because people want to see content that represents their worldview and who they identify as, who they think of themselves as, the group that they're in, and their racial demographics, and they want to see people like them, right? This idea of having black Barbies and having, whatever LGBT, whatever it might be, right? Like they want their demographic represented, but then get offended when white people want to watch other white people, right? The white people want to see TV shows about heterosexual white people, right? Because in America, it's like, what is it, something like 60 or 70% white people. And then, the LGBTQ, it's like 10%, and I think it's 12% black people, 17% Hispanic, something like that, right? And so there's these different demographics, and there's the global market as well, right? But people, for the most part, want to see either content that represents their belief system or content that represents who they identify or who they think about themselves as a demographic. I'm a dyslexic introvert who does not, I don't know anybody who looks like me. Like, people think I look, some people think I look Italian or whatever, Eastern European. Once in a while, someone says I look like a Jewish person, but there's not many people who look like me, right? Like, I've had people come up to me and say, "Are you Adam Sandler?" And like, frickin', I don't look like Adam Sandler. My wife, like, laughs hysterically. It's her favorite thing. But, it bums me out because, I mean, just to have to talk to somebody. But you know, like there aren't people that represent me. Like if I think about the demographics I represent, you know, how many TV shows and movies there are about Italian people, and pretty much all those were Italian. You know, Sicilian. I'm Sicilian. It's about mobsters and the mafia. Like almost every time an Italian person's represented, you know, once in a while everyone loves Raymond or something like that, but usually it's a criminal nature. And I don't even think about myself as Sicilian or Italian. You know, there's, you know, some stuff about Irish people, nothing about Albanian. And then German people, you know, are usually, I mean, some kind of like Hitler or something like that, right? And so the demographics I represent ethnically aren't represented, right? Being a dyslexic person, how many things are about dyslexic people? Or something that would appeal to dyslexic people? Or being introverted, right? And then doing a Sajmarg meditation that I do. Like I don't get upset every time I see something that's pro-Christian or, you know, Christian oriented and say, well, why don't you do something about what I believe? Because there's about, you know, 1,000 people who do Sajmarg in America, right? Americans. And so it's, you know, you're not going to see anything about what I do. Like you see Eastern documentaries on Eastern meditation. My point is that, you know, and as truthers, we're demonized at every turn, right? You know, we're when they talk about truthers or there's a truther character, it's always somebody who's crazy, it's somebody who's a terrorist or something like this. And so, you know, that's what it is. Like that's our mainstream culture. And so the majority of people want to see people like them. They're, you know, sheeple, heterosexual sheeple, who are, you know, for the most part, white people. And, you know, white people aren't even all white people, right? Like white people are different. Like we're all, you know, it's not like we're all the same kind of people. And we look at the content out there that's about white people and say, oh, that's what that represents me, because it doesn't, right? And so this, you know, this constant talking about it, you know, you want to see content that aligns with your belief system and your demographics, but then you get upset when other people want to do the same, right? You know, if people want to see Caitlyn Clark and they like her because she looks like them, you know, well then use that as a tool to grow your brand, you know, grow the WNBA, and don't complain about it. It's just like silly, because you know it's business, right? This is just business, but they've gotten away from the customer's always right, and they're trying to force you to accept things that you don't identify with or don't believe in. And they got your kids because your kids do, but you don't because you grew up in a different era and you believe different things. Anyways, let's get to the other stuff here. Okay, so it's been I don't know when I started this video, but it's been a couple days. And now it's Sunday, May 26th. You know, I work every day. I make content every day. I wanted to talk about this stuff. Let me just finish this stuff with privilege. You know, I've talked about this before. People don't give up privilege. And more importantly, I mean, if you have privilege, you know, it's not your, like whatever they call privilege, like this new sort of way of thinking about privilege. You know, Sunny from The View is whining about privilege, but she has famous person privilege, right? You know, she's whatever she has for being on TV. Like there's all these things. Privileges come with, you know, privileges are often also curses. You know, blessings are often curses, right? Privileges are often something that, you know, you pay a price for it. And everything that you get in life is either chaotic and random, and you have to work for it, or you just luck into it, or it's something that is planned, right? That there's some order to the universe, there's a God and there's a plan, and everyone's getting what they're supposed to get. The body you're born into, everything that your circumstances you're born into, there's a reason behind it, right? There's a divine reason. There's a part of a plan, and you're born in the right circumstances for your spiritual evolution, which I talk about more specifically on my other channel. So I just want to segue into this, you know, what I was talking about in the beginning of the video, and, you know, this channel here, and my overall presence on YouTube, right? You know, things, like I don't want to get into a numbers-based kind of situation with how many views and how many likes, but the part of this is a job I need to be compensated for. And there's, you know, great parts about this as being a job. One, I get to work, you know, sit in my bed and just talk, you know, like, so, like, that's pretty cool. and get paid for it. And so, like, that's a good part of it. But like I've said before, if being a popular truther, on YouTube is so great, why does everybody quit? I mean, I know, truthers I used to listen to disappeared years and years ago. When I used to watch videos and content. Why do people quit? Why do people quit YouTube? Not even just truthers. Why is there people who make millions of dollars on YouTube just give it up after a while? Like, why is that? Like, why would they do that? Because there's parts of this job that you don't understand that suck, right? And so, like with any job, there's things that are more difficult to get through. And when you're working a job and your pay gets cut and you're doing the same work and probably doing better work because you're more experienced, but the bad things at the job build up over time. It gets harder and harder to push through, and things get the tasks become monotonous and mundane, right? And this happens for any job. And so if your boss comes to you and says the company's hurting, we want you to work more hours for less pay, it's demotivational. And that's going to be for anybody. And if there's more levels of harassment and more hoops you got to jump through. And so I think in earlier voiceover, again, it's been a couple of days, I talked about the possibility of taking my new backup channel, which is a new channel that's, was exposing the Gratefullness called Dodgy Scam channel. And I tried to get it monetized, and they didn't monetize it. And I went through this whole process of getting the hours, 4,000 hours, and the subscribers, 1,500 subscribers. And they didn't monetize it. And then I privatized all the videos, and I got rid of I changed the name because, I'm dealing with the whole, heartfulness thing. I'm just tired of dealing with these people because they're just never going to change. And like, it's not my job to change them. And everyone else doesn't care. My normal viewers already know Dodgy's a fraud, and, it's a whole thing. And I'm doing it for free, and I can't do it for free, right? And they copyrighted me, and I had to take down videos, and no one likes to make content for free, right? When it's a job. And I just posted a video there, Dodgy to Chargy. Boss, I have become better than you, brighter mind scam for adults. And that video ties into what I'm saying here about everything that's going on with me in terms of these circumstances. And then there's a video on my normal channel, my original channel, Pockets of the Future. And it's called Ode to Pockets of the Future. If you haven't seen that, that ties into this video here as well. So I'm going through a whole thing that's affecting me on all my channels. It gets harder and harder. Oh, so let me go back to what I was saying. So I was going to possibly move the Hollywood Celebrities Dropping Like Flies content in these videos over to my new backup channel. Because this channel seems to be a channel that YouTube is regarding as not worthy of them running ads. But I have to get that channel monetized. And I went back and looked at it. And because I privatized all the videos they didn't like that were about, I was doing community service by exposing a cult that is actively working on YouTube to bring in followers and scam people out of money. And even though I was doing that, YouTube didn't want to monetize the channel because, whatever reasons was going on with YouTube and their bots and all these things. And so I privatized all those videos, and now I'm at 400 views where I was at over 13,000. And so I have to go back to square one and get 4,000 views before I could even reapply to monetize it. And I'm just tired of jumping through these hoops. I'm tired of YouTube's ever-changing community guidelines. We know the stuff with the vax and all the things that they made community guidelines for medical misinformation. We end up being right, and people are being hurt. And we're all paying for it, right? We're all paying for people who have been injured by the vax or whatever else is going on with COVID, the things that could have helped people, preventative things. We know that, those things affect all of us in terms of insurance payments and the whole, all of us are affected by other people's poor health and their choices and things. But we were considered the selfish ones, right? I'm going to make a video about that specifically. My wife and I were talking about that. But I'm just tired of dealing with YouTube's bullshit, right? Like, I've been doing it, I've been figuring it out for years, and like, I'm just, for them to not to shadow ban me and all the other truthers and kick us off the platform, and just and just people leaving who are good people who are putting out good content. And so this is what I'm dealing with, right? And the financial compensation is a part of a job, and no one wants to be paid less for the same work that they were doing, and it just sucks your motivation out of doing something. Like I said, I don't make Britney Spears videos for free. Anything that isn't about the spirituality end of this thing, anything that's about celebrity culture and politics and these things, I don't care about any of it personally. I like making fun of it and things like that, but it's here for, the expansion of the channel and to make this, profitable and that I can carve out a living, right? But if I'm making, less than $5 an hour for these videos, and then I've got expenses on top of it, and some of it I'm doing it just for, the audience and what people want, and expand the channel and to get more views and make more money and things, so I can support the spiritual end of the spiritual services that I'm able to provide here, information and things like that. And so that's where I'm at with it all, right? I'm just kind of tired of it all. I'm worn out by this thing. I'm gonna cut back on the videos here, and I'm not gonna waste my time on things that aren't making money, because I can't. Like, especially things that are, the videos here are supposed to make money, right? Like, these are the ones that are supposed to make money. They're supposed to bring people in, and they're not doing that, right? And so, YouTube has effectively erased the truthers from their platform, and this is how and why they've done it. So I'm going to reevaluate, like I said, but that's where I'm at with it. Like, it's just worn me down. You can listen to the other videos, Ode to Pockets of the Future. That's on my normal channel. People are having trouble finding my channel and finding all these things, and dealing with all of it. Like, it's just it's not just YouTube. It's people in general. It's the whole thing. It's the whole system. And so I'm a little bit burnt out on it, and this is what I'm feeling about now. I'm not bummed about it. It's just something I have to do to change what's going on, because I'm not making enough money to earn a living here, right? And so at some point I have to figure out some other way and some other platform and some other system. And so I'm going to cut back to these videos. I'm not going to put pressure on myself to make them. I'll make them when I can, and if they're not, if they continue to make very little money, I'll just abandon this channel and just stick onto my main channel, make videos every other day there, and then use my other time, my free time to figure out something else that I can do to whatever, to make it either make this something where it's economically viable, or I'll just find something else to do. Anyways, that's just it. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting for the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.